Hey everybody, what's going on? It's all you know 1994. I hope you're having a great day today. And it's not looking too good for Black Ops 6 after seeing this latest update post from Charlie Intel on Twitter. As you guys will see in the screenshot that I'll be throwing up on the video here, this is the player count, or at least the standing of where Call of Duty has been over the course of the Christmas break, which was December 21st to the 28th. In the US, it fell to number 2 on PS5, as you can see on the left there. And then in the middle, it maintained its spot of number 1 on Xbox. And then on the right, on PC for Steam, specifically, not Battle.net, it fell all the way to 7th. And then on PS5, it only fell behind Fortnite in second place. So this is kind of abnormal for those that are pretty familiar with Call of Duty. Around this time of year is when you would expect to see a player surge, not a player drop. And unfortunately, what we're seeing here is Call of Duty just isn't very popular right now. And Black Ops 6, more specifically, I think is the leading cause. And, you know, I know that player drops, like I've said before, will happen. But they usually don't happen around this time of year. And during the Christmas season, during New Year's season, you know, you'll see a lot more players buying the game and people willing to go and spend the money to get the game this late into the life cycle already. And people just aren't doing that. People are just continuously leaving, and the player numbers are continuously bleeding lower and lower. And at this point, I really just don't know what direction Call of Duty can go, Black Ops 6 can go to really just fix this issue. I mean, I think that there's many reasons why that this is happening, especially this year. But I think the two leading reasons for me, in my opinion, that this is happening, one of them being just the prices for everything involving Call of Duty right now. As I've stated in previous videos, and as you've seen, and as you all know, I'm sure, you know, Call of Duty is not a very cheap game to really play anymore. You know, you're paying $70 to $100 just to buy the game itself, and then on top of other things, you know, store bundles, black cells, battle passes, are all extra monetized things that you can buy for the game. And I just think a lot of people aren't willing to spend that outrageous amount of money to play a game that really has been pretty stale and boring for the last few years. And my second point as to where I think, or why I think Call of Duty, more specifically this year, has seen such a lower player count and such a drastic player drop, is just general burnout with the franchise. I mean, Call of Duty, again, is always going to be popular. It's always going to have players that play it, and it's always going to sell record numbers, yada, 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 this, that, and the other. But the fact of the matter is, Call of Duty, for the most part, has been around for, at least the multiplayer side of things, starting with COD 4 back in 2007, has been around for almost 20 years. And though it has changed and innovated drastically in some cases, for the most part, Call of Duty multiplayer doesn't change very much. I mean, from Modern Warfare 3 to Black Ops 6, really the only thing outside of like the obvious things like, you know, the setting and weapons and stuff, really the only thing that changed drastically was the gimmicky Omni movement that Black Ops 6 has. And I'm not trying to say that, you know, the Omni movement was a bad idea, but the fact of the matter is, I feel like instead of it really being a much needed change, I feel like they kind of just used it more as like a gimmicky thing. And again, you know, Omni movement is a skill gap in Black Ops 6 for sure. I won't take that away from it. It is a skill gap, and people that are good with it are going to succeed more in the game. But the fact of the matter is, it's Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is one of their major selling points for this game was Omni movement, and for the most part, I think most people would agree that it's just very gimmicky. So, in terms of like innovation, I would give it maybe a 5 out of 10. And that I feel is being generous. But in terms of other things, we really didn't see a lot different with this game. And general burnout is a very real thing, especially with video games. And I just feel like, along with the prices and everything, and people just not willing to spend that amount of money or X amount of money on a game that really just overall isn't very good, and people are really seeing that Activision really just isn't putting our best interests at the forefront this year, and then it just general burnout. We're in a bad spot, like I've said before, and I think a lot of people will agree that Call of Duty needs to do some drastic things to really keep players around, and what they're doing just isn't the case, isn't working anymore. I'm not saying that they need to just completely scrap the idea of selling microtransactions and this, that, and the third, because microtransactions are the lifeblood of a lot of video games nowadays. So to see them get rid of those, it would ruin them financially and everything else in between. It would just ruin the game. So microtransactions need to stay for the right reasons, and I feel like that they're not really putting the best interests of the player at first, and they're just jamming as much MTX down our throats until they can finally, start teasing the next Call of Duty. We just need to have a publisher and a development team that really just, I don't even know, like, that's the thing, like, I can come up with all these ideas I want, but the fact of the matter is, it doesn't make a difference because we're not really listened to anyway, and this game comes out every year pretty much to the same tune that it's been coming out the last few years, to where it's, everybody hypes it up, and it ends up being overhyped, and in this case, I think Black Ops 6 is a very good example of that. I think that the game, albeit has a pretty solid multiplayer experience outside of SBMM and EOMM, and has good gunplay, and the guns feel good, I just think that this game there's not enough different every year from year to year with each game to really warrant a lot of people staying with the game. And I think people have finally just had it with Call of Duty, with Black Ops 6. I think people just finally reached their breaking points, and I think we need to see change, and change being Activision needs to take a more consumer-friendly approach to what they do with the Call of Duty franchise, because right now we're on a path that is not looking or not leading to anything good. We need to Activision, Treyarch, Microsoft, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, they need to understand that players are going to continue to feel this way if there is not enough friendly change brought to the series. And Sledgehammer is probably, in the most recent years, the only one that's really taken that step towards trying to make the game more friendly and more consumer friendly and just enjoyable. All the free events that we had last year that gave us all those cool free rewards, that's something that this game, Call of Duty in general, needs every year. Stuff like that. Letting the developers have more free reign to give us events and event rewards, whether it be camos, operator skins, or just new weapons in general. They just need to be free, and they need to be fun. I just feel like everything that we're getting this year has little to very little value to it, because it's just all behind some sort of paywall that people really don't want to pay for. When it comes to events, all of that should be given to players while still working towards it for free. And at the end of the day, I think that seeing these player counts dropping the way they are this early into a game's life cycle is looking very bleak for the Call of Duty franchise's future. And Activision, Microsoft, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer all need to take notes of this, and they really need to step up and change the way they're doing things. But anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like and a comment down below. I greatly appreciate it. If you disliked the video, go ahead and leave me a dislike as well. It doesn't hurt my feelings. And this is All You Know 1994. Peace out.